Thank you for joining the City of Kingston's Common Council at our monthly meeting. Today is Tuesday. The council president and organizer for our virtual meetings. Before we begin, we would like to go over a few guidelines to help us navigate the system as efficiently and respectfully as possible. We ask that members of the public and press remain muted and off camera for the length of the meeting. As organizer, I reserve the right to mute anyone who unmutes. Council members and city staff will control their own mute button. Good practice would be to mute yourself if you are not speaking to avoid back feedback. If a council member or staff wishes to speak, they will raise their hands. The chairperson will call for our audio listeners. All of our meetings are recorded. Both video and written transcriptions are made available to the public on the city's website. If you have any audio issues, send a text message for 845-594-6120. Please note during the meeting. Again, the number to text is 845-594-6120. As the organizer, I reserve the right to lock and pause the meeting so adjust behaved inappropriately. Tonight, in attendance for city staff, we have Corp Counsel Kevin Bryant and City Clerk Elisa Tinty. The council members will be called during roll call in a few minutes. For your patience waiting for us to start and through these difficult times, on behalf of the Common Council, I wish you and your family. And I now call the meeting to order at 7:40 p.m. on 2020. May we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. Allegiance to the flag, United States, for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Thank you. You may be having a little tech issue again. So if you could just bear with me for a minute, please. Anyone's hearing me? Patrick, can you hear me? Patrick, can you unmute? Oh, he could hear us. Never mind. Thank you. All right. Again, thank you for your patience. Sorry for the delay. Let's keep going. May I please have roll call?
Alderman Ventura Morel.
Here.
Alderman Coop.
Here.
Alderman Scott Childress.
Here. Here.
Alderman Worthington.
Here.
Alderman Tallerman.
Here.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman O'Reilly.
Here.
Alderman Shabbat.
Here.
Alderman Hirsch.
Here.
We have a quorum. Can I have a motion to dismiss this meeting and approve same? Motion by Tony Davis, second by Rennie Scott Childress. All Patrick, is that a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Motion is adopted 9-0. Can I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the general bills? Motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Steve Shabbat. All in favor? Aye, opposed? Motion is adopted 9-0. We now enter the public speaking portion of the meeting. We do have 3 callers who have signed up ahead of time. But before we received a couple of written comments, we also did host a public hearing on the 23rd of last month. The comments for that is on the archives of the website that you could read. But 2 new comments came in, one from Drew and in support of the CCE receiving CDBG funds, and the other from Ellen DeFalco opposing Grand Street and Broadway. I'm now going to call on each speaker. So how I'm going to do that, unmute everybody so you can keep background noise to a minimum, and I will call the name. And then when I locate you, I will mute everybody else, and then you could say your name and address for the record and address. Everybody is unmuted. The first speaker, Jean Jacobs. Jean, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Jean. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
If you could just give me 10 seconds here.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, if you could just state your name for the record, and you could then address your comments to the council.
Absolutely. Good evening, Madam President. Good evening, members of the Common Council. My name is Jean Jacobs. I live at 139 Wall Street, Kingston, New York. Thank you for the opportunity this evening for addressing the council. I am a lifelong resident, born and raised in the city of Kingston. My entire family, my 4 children, graduated KHS, and I have been involved in my community as a community activist and a healthcare industry professional for over 40 years. I am calling this evening to ask for the support of Resolution 191 is the transfer of $350,000 into the Kingston Police Department budget. Obviously, what we are doing today is not working. We have seen an increase in crime across our city, from shots fired to unsolved murders. Through our nation, police are discovering the same factors that make it difficult to solve homicides, make it difficult to solve non-fatal shootings. With so much media attention centered around defunding the law enforcement community, it's bringing more distrust to our police. Witnesses are likely to fear retaliation for snitching, and victims may be unwilling to cooperate because telling the truth about the shooting could implicate them in a crime. Today, police departments are using surveillance cameras, gunshot detection systems, automated license plate readers, facial recognition, software body cameras, drones, and numerous databases to prevent, respond, and investigate crimes. This will never replace boots on the ground, but it will help our officers with keeping our city safe. So, ladies and gentlemen, I come from a family of law enforcement. My former husband was a police commissioner on the City of Kingston police commissioner as a police commissioner for 18 years. I lived that life. And one thing in our home was respect of the police department and respect for our officers. I'm not currently seeing that. I'm looking at a mission impossible. I think there should be a considerable amount of respect from the chief that has come down and wanted the equipment that is essential so they can run their department. And license plate reader is something that is definitely a need. I have heard it in numerous meetings over and over again. I understand that all the aldermen represent their constituents in their wards. That's fine. But you are also all responsible for the safety of the 23,000 residents that live in this city in Kingston. You're not just responsible in your ward, you're responsible for the entirety of our city, keeping our children, keeping our families safe. If we can save just one life, that is a critical component. So I urge all of you this evening to take that into consideration when you are going to adopt this resolution. Yes, I was a grant writer for 13 years. I know all about grants, how they're governed and how they're managed. And Miss Noble last evening was right on spot about the grant and that we could lose it if this is not decided upon. The state is not going to take away this money. This money must be used in conjunction with how it was applied for as a grant. I listened very carefully to what she said, and she is absolutely spot on. So with that said, I urge every alderman tonight to take the fact our mayor is responsible for the safety of every citizen in this city. And as aldermen in your ward, you have that same responsibility. I thank you for the opportunity this evening, listening to me, and my voice, I hope, has been heard. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Jean. All right, I'm ready again. The next caller is Valerie. Valerie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. All right. You are all set. So if you could just state your name and address your comments to the council.
Sure. Yes, my name is Val Dwyer. I live on Lauren Court in Kingston. I'm also calling in support of the funding for the Resolution 191 for the license plate readers. I'm a city resident, and I listened to the public hearing a couple weeks back on the budget. And I want to say every person that spoke was concerned with the same exact thing, and that was the police budget. With the exception of a few people, these people all expressed their concerns about the recent violence in the city, and they all asked for full support of the police department and its budget at the very minimum. Their voices were loud and clear that safety was their number one issue. Yet here we are waffling on whether or not we should support the purchase of license plate readers that our chief is asking for. Please give this man what he needs to fix this problem. When I spoke to the mayor a couple months ago, he expressed how difficult it was to control this crime because these people are coming in here from out of town. They're in and they're out. I've also had the same conversations with the troopers and with KPD officers. This is where the drugs are coming from. They're coming in the city, and then the drugs are what's leading to the violence. If we're seriously going to fix this problem, don't you think that LPRs would be the best option that made the most sense when we have a problem with people that are coming in from out of town? I'm going to repeat a few things I said at the last public hearing, and that's this. Our community's sense of safety has been taken from us, and I strongly feel that the tone needs to be set by Common Council, that we're going to give the Kingston Police Department the manpower, the equipment, and in this case, the technology that it needs to take this city back from the drug dealers and the criminals that are currently holding us hostage. Law and order must be at the forefront of this year's budget, because if we continue down the road of chaos, the city will continue to crumble. And like I said before, working families will leave for safer communities to raise their kids. Businesses will leave. Storefronts will be boarded up. They'll be empty. The city's tax base will dwindle before your own eyes, and the Common Council will struggle with how they have to fund future budgets. So while you might be concerned that the grant money may not come through and we may not be able to afford it, I'm here to tell you that you're thinking about this the wrong way. Because from where I stand, we can't afford not to have it. Thank you.
The next speaker last speaker is Clark. Clark, are you there?
Yes,
Hi, Clark. How are you?
good.
All right, you are all set. So if you could just state your name and address for the record, you could go on with your comments.
Clark Richters, senior, 3 Garrick Drive, City of Kingston resident. I totally agree with the last 2 callers on, we have to do anything possible. As a council, you really should be, public safety should be priority number 1. Without that, you just have total chaos of your city. And, people are going to be, if the people are afraid to go out and shop, that's your tax base, right? You really take that in accountability. I mean, it should be like carrying the safest city in all, regardless of the politics of it. But I like to say it's like, I would say you guys are using the technology, but you're not using public access of it. And I'm calling in support of the council and the mayor to utilize the public access station that you're collecting right now from the revenue from the cable subscribers. $410,000 goes into the general fund, which, I mean, to me, it's like just a little bit of that money could be added to the TV station to, inform the public of what's going on in the city, of, what the council is doing for the city as far as that. It shouldn't be like, you guys should be reaching out to the public instead of the public reaching to you. I mean, I've been around the council for a very long time. And I gotta say, I'm really disappointed as far as getting the people information out there. And I know you guys are working, but you really, use anything possible to inform your public. It's like the meetings, unless I burn a DVD and I'm taking my own time, which I'm doing right now, and I'm trying to get as much on public access as possible, but I have limited time. The city should be doing that. It'd be a really great thing for the public. Because the people that don't have that ability to jump on the computer, they only have cable vision, right? Mostly probably seniors, or not even know what's going on with the council because you guys are not reaching out to them. It shouldn't be. I just support having, you guys do radio, whatever, radio, computer. You should do everything possible to reach out to your public, to let them know what's going on as far as funding, public safety, just to let you, it's your city. It's like, I don't understand. It's like, why just take the money from the cable access and not put it back into the fund? And you had a resolution of number 17 of 1995 for public educational and government access. And I'm not even sure what had that resolution. I think it's got discarded or something because you got even. If you're making a resolution, don't you abide by your own resolutions that you're making up? I'm just so baffled on that just resolution alone. It's like it states that there should be a cable commission. There is no cable commission. It's never got reappointed from the previous mayors, and this mayor pretends like there is no commission, I guess. But he does focus on his other commissions. But I think there really should be like a public communication commission to inform the public of what's going on. So that's all for me. please support your public access and inform your public. And I'm hoping you good health and a safer city and all. Thank you.
Thank you, Clark. That ends our public speaking portion of the meeting. We now enter into claims and communications. Hearing no discussion, they will be on file in the clerk's office. Can I get a motion? Motion by Rennie Scott Childress. Anyone want to second it? Second by Steve Shabbat. All in favor? Tony, Patrick, I need to see. I got your thumbs. Patrick, I just need you.
Yes.
Patrick, I need you to vote. Are you in favor for dispensing with the second reading of the general bills and pay same?
Yes.
All right. Opposed is 0. The motion is adopted 9-0. Now enter into the report of committees, starting with resolution number 181, please.
Resolution 181 of 2020.
Patrick? We're like, oh crap.
So, Tuesday at,
All right, we're good. Thank you, Lisa.
Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, $148,322.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. To resolution 182, please.
Resolution 182 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting a transfer in the Parks and Recreation Department in the amount of $75,000.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 183, please.
Resolution 183 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing approval to enter into a stipulation of settlement, correcting and reducing the 2019 and 2020 assessment rolls for SBL numbers 48.331-7-7.
On the question? Discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Resolution number 184, please.
Resolution 184 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing approval to enter into a stipulation and order of reducing the 2019 and 2020 assessment rolls for SBL number 48.80-1-10.100.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 185, please.
Resolution 185 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing approval to enter into a stipulation and order of settlement, correcting and reducing the 2019 assessment roll for SBL number 48.80-1-34.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 186, please.
Resolution 186 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting a transfer in the Parks and Recreation Department in the amount of $32,910 to cover shortfalls and anticipated future needs.
On the question? Call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 187, please.
Resolution 187 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting a transfer in the Department of Public Works in the amount of $59,365.85 to cover shortfalls and anticipated expenses.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution
Resolution 188 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting a transfer in the wastewater treatment plant budget in the amount of $12,000 to cover the expense of anticipated future needs.
on the question? Hearing no discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Number 189, please.
Resolution 189 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting a transfer in the wastewater treatment plant budget in the amount of $7,100 to cover the expense of anticipated future needs.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I will call for the all. Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 190, please.
Resolution 190 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting a transfer in the police department in the amount of $27,000 to balance accounts.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 191, please.
Resolution 191 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting a transfer in the police department in the amount of $375,000 to cover the expense of fixed-mounted license plate reader.
Tony Davis.
Tony Davis here, Ward 6. And I just want to I want to thank Chief Tenney and Julie Noble, the project manager for this LPR grant. And I had some questions or concerns yesterday in regard to reimbursement of these funds from the state during these economic times. But my concerns were addressed by Chief Tenney to that. And so I just want to say, as the chair of the public safety, I do hear the public's outcry or concerns about safety here in the city of Kingston. And so I just wanted to say that is the duty of the council and to provide protection. And it's a duty to provide protection to all the citizens in the city of Kingston, or all the people in the city of Kingston, and so that they feel safe and to visit and live and raise their children here in the city of Kingston. So I will be a yes vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Steve Shabbat, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had ample discussion last night about the status of some of the grant, which will pay for a large portion of this. We heard from Julie Noble and Chief Tenney on this, and yet there are very few things in life that are guaranteed, especially not grants or loans. But after listening to what they said, I feel very confident that this grant will come through. If I had a crystal ball, it would be great. But, I feel confident in what they said. Their discussions with the state satisfied me that we will be getting this money. That being said, I really think this is a great tool for the police. This is not just some random off-the-wall request from the chief. This is pointed at what's going on in his community right now. I dare say he wouldn't be looking for something like this if we weren't in dire circumstances right now. This is a viable tool to help, as we've heard numerous callers say, and members of the community. We don't get a lot of help from the community to solve these crimes. So, we have to look towards technology to do that. And this appears to be a great tool from what the chief says. And I have no reason to disbelieve him at this point. So I will be voting yes on this.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Rennie Scott Childress and then Alderman Patrick O'Reilly.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, I think this is an important tool for us to invest in. This is a tool that is used for investigation rather than enforcement. It's non-invasive. The key thing here is that it's a way for tracking just the vehicles. It doesn't take any people's pictures. It doesn't invade people's privacy this way. And this is crucial for us because we are a midpoint between Albany and New York City. As a midpoint between those two places, we're a stopping off point. We're very close to the thruway. And so that has led to a fair amount of drug activity that's involved in transportation of drugs, which has led to a series of crimes and an increase in criminal activity here. So this is the sort of tool that allows the police to keep track of those vehicles that are associated with criminal behavior. That means that, they can work well and closely with other communities. This is linked into the county's information services also. So this is the sort of thing that allows for good, clear communication and good police work that's about investigation and not about enforcement. Thank you. I'll be in favor of it. That's it.
Thank you. Patrick O'Reilly, please.
Hi, Patrick O'Reilly. After speaking with the chief and realizing that the recent violence that's happening in Kingston is happening from motor vehicles. It's happening from the cars. Nobody wants to be tracked or traced. Believe me, nobody wants that. But the fact that these crimes, these violent crimes with guns are happening from motor vehicles, and the fact that this technology will allow us to track those very cars, I think outweighs the fact that we're being the police. It outweighs it. So vote yes because the violent crimes that's happening in Kingston are happening in cars. This is a tool that can actually detect those cars, track those cars. So I think it's a viable tool, even though no one to be tracked. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else on the question? Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
I'm sorry, I forgot to say one thing, and that is that we want to think of this too in the context of a much wider thought process regarding policing here in Kingston. We currently have the task force that's investigating practices of policing. This is the task force required by the governor for all municipalities in the state. We're looking forward to the recommendations that they make. We're looking forward to working with them to rethink some of the things that we do in terms of public safety here. The mayor also has put $100,000 into the contingency fund to work on the recommendations from that committee. So we are dedicated to looking at policing in many different elements of how it's done here in Kingston. But this seems to me a non-invasive, excellent tool that the police can use to help keep us safe in terms of these vehicles entering Kingston and people using Kingston as a drop-off place, someplace to come in, do their work, and then leave. Thank you.
Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch.
Hi, good evening. This is Alderwoman Hirsch. I want to say first and foremost that I do have the public safety in mind. It's very important. I know as an elected official that is my duty to uphold public safety. And I've done a lot of research into this, and I put a lot of thought into this. And I'm arriving at my vote from a very, very well-researched position. And I want to also say that I am the daughter of a law enforcement officer who I've also spoken to about this and where I'm coming from. So I just want to say that the license plate readers, as they are being presented to us as a solution to really large crimes like gun trafficking, drug trafficking, these are very serious crimes. I do not dispute that. But I do not, when we're talking about criminals of this element, how do we know for sure that they are even driving a car that is registered to that license plate, that the car, the license plate, and the owner actually all match up? We don't. I think this is a technology that is warranted to catch someone speeding down Broadway and lessen the interaction between a police officer and someone driving so that things don't escalate and people can then just, the offender receives a ticket or a warrant in the mail, and we lessen interactions that could escalate. I think that community policing model is a very important model, and that model here in Kingston is fractured. I think that there's a lot of fear in our community right now. There's a lot of crime. There's a lot of anxiety. I just don't see that the solution is to throw money at it with a technology that is not proven to work in a situation like this. We have two opposing arguments here. One is that people are coming in and we need to track them from the outside. And then we have an argument that the cars are in the middle of Kingston. So we're still going to have police response no matter what. And I'm just a no vote. I just don't think that it actually is warranted, and we don't have the funding for it right now. Thank you.
Alderwoman Rita Worthington, please.
Good evening, everybody. Rita Worthington here. So I just want to say I also come from a place of where I believe public safety is number one concern in the city of Kingston right now, especially with the increased violence, the increase in police presence and especially in my ward, and also, however, in the city of Kingston. You know, I am a fan of the KPD. Chief Tinty, I think Chief Tinty will say that as well. You know, he and we communicate often. I'm always calling him, asking him for favors. Well, I wouldn't say favors. I don't want to say favors, but always asking him to explain something to me. You know, if I need something, he's right there, a dial away, and I do appreciate that. My no vote tonight, however, is personal against KPD. You know, I thought about this for a long time, and you know, listening to the callers calling in, I understand that they are concerned about public safety, as am I. But too many people have called me and said that they're more concerned with community policing and getting that right first. They're more concerned with having some of these funds directed in other places, other resources that can maybe explore community policing and get that right. It's just in good conscience, I just cannot vote for more equipment for the police department until it is representative of the community for which it serves. You know, it's personal to me. You know, I feel like I'm getting emotional over this because of so many calls that come in. And so after thinking very hard about it, I can't go to sleep at night. If I say yes to this, I won't be able to sleep. So I have to follow my conscience and I have to follow my heart. So I'll be a no on this.
Thank you. Anybody else on the question? Hearing no more discussion, and I'll call for the vote. I'll just ask for the thumbs in front of cameras. So all in favor? All right, and opposed? All right, resolution is adopted 6-3. The no votes were Rita Worthington, Michelle Hirsch, and Jeffrey Ventura Morel. Thank you. To resolution number 192, please.
Resolution 192 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting a transfer in the Building Safety and Zoning Enforcement Department in the amount of $2,500 to cover payroll for additional hours worked by the zoning officer.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 193, please.
Resolution 193 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, supporting the return of adult inpatient behavioral health and managed withdrawal services, detox units, to the Marys Avenue campus of the Health Alliance Hospital of the Hudson Valley.
On the question? Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch and Rennie Scott Childress.
Hi, this is Alderwoman Hirsch. I just want to thank the council for supporting this resolution, for calling on the Department of Health at the state level to deny any application made by Westchester Medical Center to permanently remove the inpatient behavioral health units and managed withdrawal service detox units from the City of Kingston. As I said earlier, public safety is paramount to me, and this resolution is part of public safety for our community. We, at the state level, budget cuts are being made to affect our most vulnerable populations, and hospital beds for people that need services are being cut, and people are out on the street. And this is why we also have issues within our communities across New York, because the police are being left to be the cleanup crew. And we need to properly fund all of the community supports, including our hospital beds. And just want to say that I'm a yes vote for this and thank the council for supporting this resolution.
Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, sorry, Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
Thank you. Rennie Scott Childress here. I'd like to note first that the health providers in the mental health unit that was here in Kingston were a dedicated team. They are our neighbors. They live here around us. They understood the specific needs of our other neighbors and area residents. And for many years, the unit was ranked as one of the best inpatient units in New York State on a couple of significant measures in terms of quality of care. They had a stellar record, too, in terms of the statistics of readmission, having a very low readmission rate. They didn't discharge patients before they had a chance to get better. They made sure that people were in a good place before discharging them. They understood their needs, where they lived and worked, and they were able to make sure that these folks got the support they needed when they were back home. But Westchester Medical's takeover of the unit caused significant negative changes. No longer was it about patient care, it was about corporations' profits. The healthcare providers there were no longer a team, but cogs in a machine. Where the healthcare providers did not use severe restraints before, now those have become common. The rate of readmissions rose, long-term employees left. So there were problems before this Westchester took this unit away from us in terms of its physical place. We've seen an increasingly difficult time for frontline staff to have any feedback into the decisions regarding the policies or staffing. And now all of this has been moved down to another place which is far distant, which means that our local residents, in order to have their psychiatric care needs taken care of in emergencies and difficult situations, have that compounded by having to travel long distances away from family, away from caregivers, away from what's familiar. So the decisions here, too, were not made at the local level. The two people who made these decisions live way downstate somewhere. They hardly spend any time at all here in Ulster County. They don't know us. They don't know our needs. They don't know our people. Kingston and Ulster County cannot afford to lose the mental health unit or the inpatient subsidy we used to have here. Our bottom line is not and should never be the bottom line of Westchester Medical Center. I therefore will cast a resounding yes for this memorializing resolution calling for the return, immediate return, of the inpatient mental health and substance abuse treatment unit to Kingston. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on the question? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Tony? Did I see a thumbs up? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Resolution number 194, please.
Resolution 194 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting approval of cap $1,286,500 and authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute any and all contracts required to complete said projects.
Hearing no, Alderman Doug Coote.
Okay, thank you, President Schutt. The Finance Committee held a series of 5 meetings to look at in great detail every line item of the operating budgets and the capital requests for all the city departments. When we reviewed the capital plan for the building department, they had requested, Steve Knox had requested $38,000 for an SUV to carry out the duties of the zoning officer. That request was denied by the committee, was voted down, and so that $38,000 was taken out of the capital plan. Since then, in fact, today, I received a memo which I've circulated to all my colleagues. I hope you had a chance to read it, but maybe you haven't. I'll summarize it. The department is using a 1996 Dodge Durango, and the assessment is that it has a completely rusted out undercarriage and will not like to make it through 2021. And so the zoning officer has no city vehicle and uses his own for inspections, meetings, and site visits. So failure of the old Durango to perform or loss of any department vehicle for any length of time could have a direct effect on availability to conduct inspections and projected revenue. So I asked, this is Steve Knox asking, that further consideration be given to approving the requested purchase. So therefore, I would like to offer an amendment. I make a motion to restore the $38,000 to purchase the SUV vehicle for use for the zoning officer within the building department. Thank you.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second? There's a second by Rennie Scott Childress. So on the question of restoring the $38,000 to the capital project. Any discussion? First, Alderman Rennie, and then Alderman Tony Davis.
I would like to underscore Doug Coop's points there. This is not right that a city employee has to use a personal vehicle to do city business. We need to be sure that we've got adequate transportation, particularly for building safety. Building safety is involved in keeping many of the buildings here in town safe and in proper order. There's all kinds of issues that come up that we need them to investigate. There has been a little bit of reduction in terms of interior examinations of properties, but there's still so much work that they have to do. We just approved money to increase the hours for the zoning officer. What's the point of increasing the hours for the zoning officer if the zoning officer can't actually get to the places to do his work? So I think that this vehicle is crucial for building safety in order for them to continue the work that they do. Moreover, building safety had a positive variance in this last budget of $140,000 thereabout. $114,000 thereabout. They also bring in revenue. And so, that offsets to a great extent any concern we might have about borrowing the money to pay for this vehicle. So I heartily endorse the motion to restore the funds, $38,000 for this vehicle to the capital plan.
Thank you. So next is Tony Davis, but then we'll go to Patrick O'Reilly. So
Tony Davis here. During this discussion and at that meeting, it was discussed that there was a hold on doing inspections at the time. That was the information that we were given at the finance meeting, and that there were inspections have been put on hold. So that is why and several people voted at that time to not go forward with this vehicle at this time. And since holds were put on inspections during this COVID-19 pandemic. And it was also stated at that time that someone was going to reach out to in the building of safety in regard to this vehicle and the need for it at that time. I, as a part of the finance, never heard back from anybody stating what happened with that meeting. Also, the building safety department should have been aware of this and prior to today, and that the vehicle had been discussed to be removed from the budget. And so I don't know whose responsibility that is to let them have informed them and that this was discussed and this was voted, that vehicle was voted out of the budget at that time. And, to hear at the 23rd hour that, and again, another thing is we were never told, I was never informed, and to my knowledge, that the zoning officer has been riding around in his own vehicle doing things. If that was addressed at that time, we would really had a good discussion about why is an employee driving around their own vehicle doing city work. So if that is the case, then we need to address that. I have no problem of signing off on this, but again, it's this lack of communication. And one, we didn't know that the building safety officer or the zoning officer has been riding around his own vehicle. Two, and building safety, Steve Knox, should have been known prior to this afternoon or whenever we received that communication that this vehicle was pulled out of the capital plan. Right. So this again is lack of communication, and we wouldn't be doing this right now if there was better communication. That's all I have to say.
Alderman Patrick O'Reilly.
Hi, Patrick O'Reilly. Is there any reason we're paying $40,000 for a vehicle? There's plenty of vehicles out there for $20,000 that work just fine. What kind of vehicle is this? I'm just wondering, is it a pickup truck? And what's he lifting with the pickup truck? I mean, does he need a $38,000 pickup truck, or could he be fine in a nice little car?
In the capital project note here, it's a hybrid AWD SUV. All-wheel drive SUV. Took me that long to figure out AWD.
Well, you know, we're in the city of Kingston. You don't really need an all-wheel drive car. Front-wheel drive cars do great in the city of Kingston. I don't know why we're spending $40,000 for this vehicle unless we're going to give it to somebody else later down the road if that's their idea, or they're going to give it to somebody else soon. But I see the inspectors driving around in cars, small cars, and I hope they don't cost $38,000.
Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch.
Yes, this is Alderwoman Hirsch. For the record, I just first would like to state that I am on the Finance Committee and attended the Finance Committee budget meeting on November 4th. And when the capital plan came up, Mr. Knox was no longer in the meeting. John Toohey read to us the request from Mr. Knox from the building department, explaining that the vehicle was going to be used for the commercial inspector. And we also had learned from Mr. Knox that the commercial inspector was going to be new to the department and was only going to be working 3 days a week. So I still am personally against I don't see the need to hire to purchase such a big expenditure at this time. We are going into the second phase of COVID again. We're going to have budgetary concerns moving forward at the state level. We don't know how this is going to play out at the local level. And I just think that the building department have a fleet of electric cars already, and that they can still, there's other vehicles that could be used, and that this is an unnecessary expense going into the capital budget at this time. Thank you.
Anyone else on the motion that's currently on the table? Hearing no more discussion, I'll take a vote for the motion to restore the $38,000 the building safety SUV. I will call for the vote. All in favor? Okay, so the in favor is Rennie Scott Childress, Jeffrey Ventura Morel, Doug Coop, Don Tollerman. Tony, were you in favor? And opposed? Patrick O'Reilly, Rita Worthington, Tony Dave, Michelle Hirsch. So the motion to restore the $38,000 to the capital project was passed 5-4. This changes resolution 94. We do have Comptroller John Toohey who is listening. I don't know if Kevin or Lisa, we need him to make the adjustment. Or Alderman Coop is prepared for that.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, there are two subsequent resolutions that relate to adoption of a bond ordinance and then a bond ordinance itself, which would have to be increased from $1,286,500, increased by the $38,000 to bring them to a level of $1,324,500. So I would again make a motion to amend resolution number 195 to increase that amount by $38,000 to a total of $1,324,500.
All right, but we haven't voted on resolution number 194 yet.
I'm sorry, we voted. We voted on change. We voted on 194, correct?
To put it back, but we haven't voted on the actual resolution.
We had I'm sorry, I don't understand. I guess there was a vote of 5-4 on resolution 194.
Not on 194.
The 5-4.
To amend.
The vote was to amend, to restore it, but we haven't actually voted on.
We voted on the amendment. I stand corrected. The amendment was voted in 5-4. Thank you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Thank you. Elisa, can you read the new resolution 194, please?
Resolution 194 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting approval of capital projects totaling $1,324,500 and authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute any and all contracts required to complete said projects.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? So in favor, Steve Shabbat, Doug Coop, Rennie Scott Childress, Jeffrey Ventura Morel, Don Tollerman. Tony Davis, Rita Worthington, Michelle Hirsch. Patrick, I didn't get your vote. Thumb up, thumb down.
Is that the same vote?
It's approving the full capital project. All right, that's a yes vote. So it is resolution 194. The amended resolution passes 6-3. Did you get all that, Elisa? All right, moving to resolution number 195, please.
Okay.
Resolution 195 of 2020.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Elisa.
Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing adopting a bond ordinance in the sum of $1,324,500 to finance the city's 2021 capital plan as per the attached.
On the question, Alderman Doug Coop.
Thank you. In view of the fact that resolution 194 is passed, increasing by $38,000. 195 relates to the adoption of a bond ordinance, which obviously must match that amount. So I propose an amendment to increase the bond ordinance by $38,000.
All right, there's an amendment on the floor. Is there a second? Second by Rennie Scott Childress. On the question of the amendment. Hearing no discussion, I will call for the vote to amend the resolution. All in favor? So in favor is Patrick O'Reilly, Don Morel, Rennie Scott Childress, Doug Coop, and Steve Shabbat. Opposed is Tony Davis, Rita Worthington, and Michelle Hirsch. Amendment is adopted 6-3. Elisa, can you please read the amended resolution 195?
Resolution of the Common 195 or 196? 195? I'm sorry. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing adopting a bond ordinance in the sum of $1,324,500 to finance the city's 2021 capital plan as per the attached.
Alderman Tony Davis.
I just want to know, to be on record, that I am a no vote, and because of the last minute increase of $38,000 into the capital plan. And I'm in favor of the other capital plans that we had discussed in finance and it passed through finance after a lengthy discussion, and which was to remove the $38,000. And again, I wish we had, and I had received information prior to 2 hours maybe before this Common Council meeting in regard to that additional $38,000. and so we could had more of a discussion on it and got some more answers. And again, in regard to, is it possible to find a vehicle and at a less price, and that is, that could be still utilized in that. So, and I want to be on record. That is why I'm a no vote against this, the capital plan and the bond. And it's because the fact that in the last hours, and we got a request to add 38,000 back to this after I think that we had doing our due diligence and during the budget meeting and on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Michelle Hirsch, please.
Yes, this is Alderwoman Hirsch. I'd like to state for the record that I too was about to vote for the full capital plan prior to the amendment that was just voted in. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Rita Worthington.
Rita Worthington here. Yeah, it's unfortunate that, that I have to vote against this because it's only that part of the bond ordinance and the capital plan that I'm voting against. So, it's really unfortunate that that was added back into this, which now makes it look like we're voting against this capital project, which that is not the case. So as Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch said and Alderman Tony Davis said, I too, just going on the record, is just that portion of this resolution. It's real unfortunate, very unfortunate.
Alderman Tony Davis, please.
That was my second time, Alderman Tony Davis here. So again, and I'm just a little frustrated about the lack of communication in regard to this. And it was discussed at that finance meeting that someone would reach out to Steve Knox to have more discussion, and that information could have been brought back to the committee as well as the full council and at caucus last night, and we could have had a great debate or discussion about this. And instead of the last hour that I had to go on record as being against this whole capital plan. Thank you.
Alderman Patrick O'Reilly.
Hi, Patrick O'Reilly. I'm hoping that Steve Knox is listening to this and he's going to buy the most economical car for this part-time employee to use. A all-wheel drive SUV sounds like something that a part-time employee would not need to be driving around inspecting places. Unless he's picking up something at these places, which I don't think he is. I think we can go much more economical. Hopefully Steve will be able to buy a cheaper car and put at least half of that money back into the general fund. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote, and this is for the amended Resolution 195. Favor? All in favor is Don Tollerman, Patrick O'Reilly, Jeffrey Ventura Morel, Rennie Scott Childress. All opposed? Tony Davis, Michelle Hirsch, Worthington. The resolution is adopted 6-3. Moving to resolution number 196, please.
Resolution 196 of 2020. Bond ordinance dated December 1st, 2020. An ordinance authorizing the issuance of $1,286,500 bonds of the City of Kingston, Ulster County, New York, to pay the cost of various city purposes in and for said city.
On the question? Alderman Doug Coop.
Thank you. I would also offer an amendment to increase the bond ordinance by $38,000 so that Resolution 196 matches Resolution 195.
Is there a second? second by Rennie Scott Childress. Sorry. On the question of the amendment. Is there anybody discussion on the amendment? Hearing no discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor? In favor is Patrick O'Reilly, Don Tollerman, Jeffrey Ventura Morel, Rennie Scott Childress, Doug Coop, and Steve Shabbat. All opposed, Tony Davis.
Question.
Rita Hamilton.
I'm sorry. Bond ordinance, are we supposed to read that out? No. It's not roll call.
You're voting on the amendment.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Sorry.
That's coming. So opposed again. Sorry, guys. Opposed votes. Can you just show your thumbs so I can get it on record? Tony Davis, Michelle Hirsch, and Rita Worthington. So the amendment is moved 6-3. Elisa, can you read the new resolution number 196, please? And then this is
Resolution 196 of 2020, bond ordinance dated December 1st, 2020. An ordinance authorizing the issuance of $1,324,500 bonds of the City of Kingston, Ulster County, New York, to pay the cost of various city purposes in and for said city. Alderman O'Reilly. I can't hear him.
I can't hear him. No.
can you unmute yourself or give a thumbs up, thumbs down? Patrick? He's a yes vote.
Alderman Shabbat.
Yes.
Alderman Hirsch.
No.
Alderman Ventura Morel.
Aye.
Alderman Coop.
Aye.
Alderman Scott Childress.
Aye.
Alderman Worthington.
No.
Alderman Tollerman.
Aye.
And Alderman Davis.
No.
Approved 6-3. Moving to resolution number 197, please.
Resolution 197 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, hereby adopting the following changes to the mayor's 2021 recommended budget. Increase part-time salaries and benefits by $12,384 in the zoning department.
On the question. Alderman Rennie Scott Childress?
Yes, we heard testimony from Eric Kitchen about the significantly increased amount of work that he's had to do relating to zoning issues. We've seen this because there has been, fortunately for us, a fair amount of activity in real estate and in development here in Kingston. And just here right in my neighborhood, we recently had a big issue that he responded to very quickly. And it's clear that he is overwhelmed with work. And so I believe that this is a crucial part of our building safety plan here in Kingston. And so I'm firmly in favor of increasing his number of hours. We are offsetting this, of course, with a later resolution. So this will not add any money to the budget.
Thank you. Anyone else in the? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 198, please.
Resolution 198 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, hereby adopting the following changes to the mayor's 2021 recommended budget, removing vacant project manager's position from Department 6990 Grants Management.
On the question? Alderman Doug Coop?
Yes, thank you, President Schott. I am opposed to the removal of this position. We depend so much on grants, and we have a spectacular record in getting grants over the next couple of years, and I think that will continue to accelerate even beyond the current problems with the funding from the state. That hopefully that's a blip, and it's a big blip. I admit that. But I think over the long haul, our two grant writers are doing a superb job, and we want to allow them to focus on getting more grants. Therefore, we need someone to manage the projects and to ensure that the receivables come in on time. So I'm a no vote on this resolution. Thank you.
Alderman Rennie Scott Childress, please.
Thank you. I'm very proud of the grants department and the work they've done to bring grants into the city. These are a crucial element of our development without increasing taxes on our local citizens. There's a question, though, of management and of workers. Right now, a lot of the work that's done under these grants is done by DPW. And DPW is currently working with the smallest number of with one of the smallest number of employees that it's had in decades. They're doing an amazing amount of work there. My concern is that, on the one hand, if we increase the number of grants that we are bringing in, that's going to push DPW to the breaking point, or it's going to require us to start hiring many more contractors, and that's going to make things more expensive, and in the end could sort of backfire. We need to be at a place where we can adequately manage the grants that we bring in. That's why I think that if we remove this position, we've also got another request to change the number of hours in the engineering department, and that will help with the issue of managing grants. So while we're not giving the full position here, we are looking at some increase, making sure that the engineer, and I think this seems to be the proper place for it too, that the engineer would have, the engineer department would have more time to put to this kind of management. So I think too, we do need to look in the near future toward helping DPW and not burdening them with more work than what they already are doing in a heroic fashion. Thank you.
Anyone else on the question? Hearing no more discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor? One, two, three, four, five, six. That was a yes, right? Did you have your thumb? Okay. And opposed? All right, the resolution is adopted 7-2. The two dissents were Don Tullerman and Doug Coop. Moving to resolution number 199, please.
Resolution 199 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, hereby adopting the following changes to the mayor's 2021 recommended budget by increasing contingency by $10,000 for potential Common Council attorney.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 6-3. The dissents were Doug Coop, Tony Davis, and Don Tollerman. Moving to
Resolution 200 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, hereby adopting the following changes to the mayor's 2021 recommended budget to move senior account clerk and reimbursement from Department 6995 to Department 6989.
on the question? Alderman Rennie Scott Childress, and then all. Rennie?
I defer to Alderwoman Hirsch.
Alderwoman Hirsch, please.
Yes, Alderwoman Hirsch here. I'm just not in favor of expanding a new department at this time. Currently, all the employees of what it will be known as the Housing Department are on the budget of 2020 under economic development, and I just believe that the City of Kingston Common Council shouldn't be endorsing a housing department that is currently promoting the foreclosure timeframe on homes when we're in the middle of an economic meltdown. I just don't believe that we should be punishing victims of COVID if they can't pay their property taxes in a timely manner. So I'm just against expanding and creating a park department. Thank you.
Alderman Rennie Scott Childress, did you want to speak?
Yes, thank you. I share Alderwoman Hirsch's concern here. When the mayor proposed this position, it was not a standalone department, which is what it's looking like now. It's got its own line in the budget, and it looks like it's carving out a definite position here. The positions were already in the budget, so I'm not concerned so much about the monetary aspect. I hear what Alderwoman Hirsch is saying about some duplication in terms of supplies and that sort of thing. However, my concern here is getting clear communication from the administration on actual plans in these kind of situations. Because when we talked about this position for the Director of Housing Initiatives, it was going to be a position in the, as I understood, it was going to be a position in economic development. In other words, similar to some of the work that the former director of that department was undertaking. So, I was in favor of the position, but I'm concerned that it's not clear to us exactly how this is all working. And so we need to have better understanding, better clarification, communication rather, from the mayor, from the administration about the intentions here, because we need to understand these things before they come to us at a late stage like this in the budget. Thank you.
Alderman Tony Davis.
Tony Davis here. Again, it comes back to a lack of communication because during, again, the finance meeting, and someone had stated that they would reach out to and Micah and Gillard and to find out how this would affect this department. And again, as of today, I never received any information in regard to that discussion.
Anyone else on the question? Hearing no more discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor? In favor is Islington, Tony Davis, Jeffrey Ventura Morel, Michelle Hirsch, and Steve Shabbat. Opposed is Doug Coop, Don Tollerman, and Rennie Scott Childress. Patrick, I missed your vote. So that's a 5-4 vote. Resolution is adopted. Move resolution.
You said it was adopted?
Yes. Did I reverse vote?
I thought there were 5 people who voted against it.
Let me do that again. So can you keep your thumbs up, because by the time I get to screens, you might have already put it down.
Wrong, but I thought.
Is there time for more discussion on this?
What are you doing here? If you would like to discuss, I will let you discuss. Alderman Patrick O'Reilly on the question.
Could someone clarify exactly what we're voting on?
Can you reread the resolution, please? This is resolution number 200.
Resolution 200 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, hereby adopting the following changes to the mayor's 2021 recommended budget to move senior account clerk and reimbursement from Department 6995 to Department 6989.
They'll be moving from the housing department, the newly created housing department, into the economic development department. Did that answer your question, Patrick?
I'd like more clarification.
Rennie Scott Childress?
At the risk of losing my second chance of speaking here, if you remember last night at caucus, we discussed this some, and part of the problem here is that while I am concerned about the creation of this department, we don't have the power in our conversation with Corporation Counsel. We don't have the power merely to move a position from one place in the administration to another. That's the purview of the mayor. So if we wanted to X out this position, if we wanted to say, remove the salary and put that into fund balance, we could do that. That's a budget issue. That's our proper practice. That's our proper area here. But if it's simply a question of moving it from one department to another, that has the potential to stand to be an issue of usurping the mayor's power. So the other thing is that, if we were going to move this position, I would then be in favor of moving both positions so that it was clear who Michael Gilliard, for example, reported to. Because if you move this position, it's not clear if this person then is working for Michael Gilliard or is working under working under Mandy Bruck, working under the head of economic development. So that's why, at this late point, this is part of this problem. If we had had this discussion earlier on, if there had been a request from the mayor to create this position that had gone through civil service, that had gone through the proper channels, we would have an understanding of what's going on here. But that didn't happen. And so now we're in this gray area of what this position is, who they report to, and what exactly its purpose is. Does that help, Patrick?
So if we vote in favor of this, will a new department be made? Or if we vote against this, will the department be not made?
We're not moving Michael Gilliard's position, so in that sense, there's still the department that he's the head of, although it's unclear exactly what all that is.
Alderman Tony Davis and then Alderman Doug Coop.
Yes, this is Alderman Tony Davis. And I did, after I cast my vote, I did remember the conversation that we had with Corporation Counsel, who stated that we could not move this, that this would be taking duties or responsibilities from the executive branch. And so as we go to recast this, I'm going to be changing my vote. And because Corporation Counsel has informed us that we could not change positions out of this budget. We can do financial, but we cannot change the positions. That is up to the mayor. And so I will be changing my vote if we have a cast a new vote.
Anyone else? Doug Coop.
Yeah, my view on this, if we pass this, we're essentially micromanaging the mayor. These are things that he ought to be able to make the decision, and we should not be looking over his shoulder on every small move like this. So I would be opposed to this.
Anyone else on the question? All right, so I'm calling for the vote on Rennie
Can
Scott.
you just clarify? I think there's a little mix-up about what it means to vote for and vote against.
Oh, yeah. So you're voting for Resolution 200, which is to change and remove, or to change the account clerk. You're voting for Resolution 200 or opposed to Resolution 200.
Right. So voting for means that you are asking to move the position from housing initiatives into the Department of Economic Development. So voting against it means keeping the status quo.
Correct.
Voting against it means following the advice of Corporation Counsel last night, as Tony was
Correct.
talking. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so I'm calling for the vote in favor of Resolution 200, I'm sorry, Michelle Hirsch.
So I will follow Corporation Counsel's advice, but I just want to state on the record that when the housing director was hired in March, that we were told that they would be under economic development for 2020, and that we would have the power to approve this position or not approve this position in the 2021 budget. So I know that Michael Gillard would be in charge of housing initiatives, and he would be in charge of the land bank. I recognize that COVID has occurred and things have slowed down. So I'm hoping that in the year 2021, that the land bank is able to move some properties and that we get some people housed. So I will be changing my vote, but I'm hoping that we see some results and get some people housed with our new housing initiative starter.
All right, since it's been a while, Elisa, can you please read resolution one more time?
Resolution 200 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, hereby adopting the following changes to the mayor's 2021 recommended budget to move senior account clerk and reimbursement from Department 6995 to Department 6989.
Favor? All opposed? Resolution fails 0-9. Moving to resolution number 201, please.
Resolution 201 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, hereby adopting the following changes to the mayor's 2021 recommended budget, changing the vacant engineering tech start date from July 11th, 2021 to January 11th, 2021, and a general fund increase of $35,004 and a sewer fund increase of $11,668.
On the question? Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
Yeah, I just want to point out, this is the position, this is the money we were talking about that makes money available in the engineering department to increase the services that engineering provides, which includes project management.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing no more discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution 202, please.
Resolution 202 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, reducing the appropriation of the fund balance used to balance the 2021 budget.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution 203, please.
Resolution 203 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting the approval of the city's 2021 general fund budget with total expenditures of $43,120,685.
On the question, Alderman Doug Coop.
Yeah, I'll just say this resolution and a few to follow are just a culmination of all the work that the Finance Committee did and several other non-voting members of the Finance Committee attending all these budgets. We went through every line item. I thank John Toohey for his assistance. I thank all the department heads who came and gave their time and answered our questions, some of them quite pointed. So there's a lot of work. So once again, I thank everyone.
Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
I'd like to add my thanks as well to John Toohey and to Dan Baker. They put a huge amount of work into what they do. They approach their work with the utmost professionalism and courtesy, and it's an absolute joy to work with them. And I want to recognize all the work that they do. And it's hard for people in their positions to, get the recognition out beyond City Hall. So I hope that folks will be appreciative of the work that they do. Thank you.
Alderman Steve Shabbat.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd also like to express my appreciation to Chairman Doug Coop. Doug put a lot of his own time into this over and above the meetings. I mean, it's incredible what he presents to us. It saves us so much time, and it was really rewarding to see so many members of the council there other than just the Finance Committee. I mean, this is it's a tough load to carry. It's a lot of work, a lot of hours. Doug ran this very, very smoothly, had to work there for us. I really appreciate everything you did, Doug, and I appreciate everybody on the council being there and not waiting till, tonight or last night to start raising questions. And we really did our homework on this. I was really happy to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Alderman Tony Davis.
Alderman Tony Davis. I'd like to again express my appreciation for John Toohey, our comptroller, our assessor Dan Baker, and the Finance Committee and the non-voting committees, but also the department heads for and being due diligence and finding and cost savings where they possibly could in each of their budgets, and which makes this all possible. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing no more discussion, I will call for the vote. Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 204, please.
Resolution 204 of 2020, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending the approval of a total of $17,675,495 in taxes to be raised by the city's 2021 budget. This amount includes a tax levy of $17,650,940 and prorated taxes of $24,555.
On the question, Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
I would like to recognize here Mayor Steve Noble and the work that he's done in terms of keeping our tax levy at the same rate every year that he's been in office. This has been, in effect, a tax reduction in terms of city taxes. I know that other taxes may have gone up, but I appreciate the work that he's done to keep this tax levy at the same rate so that our taxpayers are finding relief over time. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing no more discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution 205.
Resolution 205 of 2020, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, in accordance with RPTL 1901 and PRTL 1903, recommend authorization to adopt a base proportion ratio of 55.18267% homestead and 44.81733% non-homestead for the 2021 tax year.
On the question. Hearing no discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 206, please.
Resolution 206 of 2020, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting approval of the city's 2021 sewer fund budget with total expenditures of $5,073,019.
On the question? Hearing no discussion except my cat's knocking everything over here. I apologize. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 207, please.
Resolution 207 of 2020, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York to approve the city's sewer rate at an amount of $6.20 per unit.
On the question, Alderman Patrick O'Reilly.
I would just like to note that the amount of the per unit went up 1 cent. Thank you.
Hearing no discussion, no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 208, please.
Resolution 208 of 2020, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the City of Kingston, New York, adding a stop sign on Bond Street at the intersection of Bond Street and Westchester Street. There's a typo.
The question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Patrick, can you give me a thumbs up or thumbs down? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Thank you. Moving to resolution 209, please.
Resolution 209 of 2020, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the City of Kingston, New York, adding handicap parking on Home Street.
On the hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 210, please.
Resolution 210 of 2020, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the City of Kingston, New York, adding handicap parking on Linwood Place.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution 211, please.
Resolution 211 of 2020, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the City of Kingston, New York, removing handicap parking on South Manor Avenue.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Don? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 212, please.
Resolution 212 of 2020, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending approval for adding Department of Public Works charges to the 2021 property tax bills.
On the question? The vote, all in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution 213, please.
Resolution 213 of 2020, Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending approval for adding Building Safety Division charges to the 2021 property tax bills.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to Resolution 214, please.
Resolution 214 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending approval for adding Energy Abatement Corporation charges to the 2021 property tax bills.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 215.
Resolution 215 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, reallocating $4,500 from Kingston City Schools internship program to Business Alliance of Kingston's Made in Kingston.
On the question? Alderman.
I'd like to give a little credit to the Business Alliance this year for figuring out a way to get the Made in Kingston event off the ground. I was certain it would not happen. This is a great event for the city of Kingston. Quality of life, gets people out. This year it didn't get people out, but they found a way to do it online. They put a lot of time and effort thinking of ways to be able to do this, let alone carry it out. I really appreciate the work they put in. And I'm glad the city is able to help them out every year with grant money.
Thank you. Anyone else on the question? Hearing no further discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to 216, please.
Resolution 216 of 2020. A resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a transfer in the Department of Public Works in the amount of $7,100 to cover shortfalls in the wastewater treatment plant.
On the question? Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
This isn't on this point. I just was wondering, we will want to make a motion to reconsider an item that was at last month's meeting. And I'm wondering, I just want to make everybody aware that we need to do that before we leave. So it's not on the list of resolutions here. So I just want to make people aware that there is that one more item that we'll want to deal with at the end.
Sorry, 216. Hearing no discussion. Resolution 216.
I think we didn't hear you call for the vote. I think that's...
Okay. Yes, I'm calling for the vote for Resolution 216. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Resolution 217, please.
Resolution 217 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending approval for adding Water Department charges to the 2021 property tax bills.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to Resolution 218.
Resolution 218 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the release of the restriction in the deed for 40 Conde Street, requiring that the property cannot be sold in the future without Common Council consent.
Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Moving to resolution number 219, please.
Resolution 219 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, approving the settlement between Luther and the City of Kingston.
On the question? Hearing no the vote, all in favor? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 220, please.
Resolution 220 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, adopting a finding that a portion of North Street is determined to be no longer used as a public thoroughfare and authorizing the transfer of a portion of North Street to Quarry Waters LLC and their successor in title.
On the question? Hearing notice, Alderman Tony Davis.
Yes, Tony Davis here. After yesterday's caucus and speaking to the representatives of the quarry, and I just like to be on record that that our city engineer, the mayor's office, city engineer, and make sure they do the due diligence and sit down with Hutton Brickyard there, and to make sure and that it goes into writing that this, the people of the city of Kingston will have be able to use that property or go through their property. I know it's and city engineer didn't think that was going to be a problem, and again he had acknowledged that nothing had been written in stone. So I'm just hoping that that goes forward, that they get that signed, so the people will right away. Thank you.
Anyone else on the question? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Does anybody have anything else? Alderman Don Tollerman?
Hi, this is Don Tollerman. Just bringing Resolution 175, return of Resolution 175 from last month's council meeting back to the table. This is regarding the funding for the reconfiguration of the intersection at Broadway and Pine Grove, where the Y is in Planet Wings.
So you're making for the record to reconsider, correct?
Correct.
Is there a second to that? Scott Childress seconded it. On the question, Alderman Tony Davis, then Don Tollerman, then Rita Worthington.
So, and I was not at last month's Common Council meeting, and so can you, if it's possible, inform me who were the yes votes and who were the no votes?
Sure. The votes inform you of the no votes. It was Rita Worthington and Jeffrey Ventura Morel, plus with the absences of you and Patrick O'Reilly. Because it's a bond, it needs a supermajority. So,
and can you reread the bond again? Exactly what was the verbiage?
Elisa, do you have that handy?
I do not. I was not given anything. I'm actually trying to find it in last month's agenda. So if you just give me a minute.
my other question is, and the people who voted last month, and they changed their votes?
What was the resolution
For
number?
175.
resolution number 175. I believe change your vote.
They can.
Tony, do you want me to move on to the next person while we wait for the resolution?
Yes, please.
Okay. Don Tollerman was next, then Rita, and then Steve.
Hi, everybody. This is Don Tollerman. And so I just want to review, so this is in Ward 5, which is my ward, and it's a very important intersection for the city. It's really at the center of Midtown. And I think it's everyone agrees that as currently constructed, this intersection is not safe. It's just based on pure data from the engineering office and John Schulteis that there's more accidents here. It's one of the more dangerous or most dangerous intersections in the city. It's also a fact that the Broadway Streetscapes project, which all told is at least a $20 million project, this is the eastern end of it. And so the light synchronization, if we don't approve this, the lights won't be synchronized with the rest of the project, and it'll sort of be, not quite the bookend that we would want for this huge project that we're investing so much money in. But I understand, the other reason why there's some objection about this. It's really the fact that the original cost estimate for this project, the purchase of the Planet Wings building, from that original cost estimate, the costs have really skyrocketed past what was initially budgeted. And so, I've heard from different people in the council that that's really frustrating, and it shouldn't be that way. And for that reason, I think some members are saying, no, you're not going to vote for it. And I totally get that. It is frustrating, and I don't really know why that happened, why the original estimates were so far below. I suspect it was because of poor communication. As Tony has pointed out tonight, 2 or 3 times, this seems to affect a lot of issues in the city, that communications could be better. So I don't know exactly why, but it wasn't communicated what all the costs would be here. I do know, though, that I don't think anybody was trying to be sneaky or underhanded with this. I think that maybe some things were left out or were not communicated. And so that's where we are. We're here, and to finish this project out, we do need to allocate this additional money. So what should we do? Well, if we vote no tonight, then what we're doing is we're sending a message out there that we're frustrated by the situation of having to spend more money. Okay. But if that's what we do, who loses in this? And I can think of 2 groups who do lose. One is the visitors to our city, people who are, and residents, but people who are coming into Kingston and into Midtown specifically. You go down the hill under the railroad tracks and come back up by the Y there, and boom, you're in the center of Midtown. And what do you see? You see an abandoned Planet Wings building on the corner there. And, this is our historic Midtown district. And as Steve Shabbat pointed out last night in caucus, aesthetics really do matter. And we want a vibrant Midtown, and it just gives the wrong feeling. So that's one thing. The people that are visiting the city it just doesn't give us the look that we want. But almost more importantly to me is the people that are going to lose are the residents of Midtown. Why is that? Because Midtown virtually has no open space, no gathering space, no place to hang out, have a concert, a pop-up gallery, or just meet with your friends. Uptown has Peace Park, and it has Academy Green, Downtown has Rotary Park and the Gallo Park and Cornell Park. What does Midtown really have? I mean, there's the linear park, of course, but that's not really, it's hard to gather there because people are moving all the time. And I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right that Midtown doesn't have a place to gather. And that's a very important part of this project. After the Planet Wings building is brought down, there will be a public gathering space there. So, that's why I am in favor of this, even though I agree it's terrible that it's costing way more than we expected. Here we are, and we have to do something. And the choice is either vote it down and do nothing and leave it as it is, which would be an eyesore and just a disservice to the people in Midtown, or we can vote yes, put the necessary money against this, and make something that we can all be proud of.
Don, I didn't want to interrupt, but we to send resolution 175 back to the table. So there's a motion to reconsider. So we're kind of a little bit out of order here. So let's take that vote first. So this is just resolution 175 to the table, and then we'll have this discussion. But so does anybody have anything on this point? Rennie, Scott?
Just a point of order. The motion to reconsider is a simple majority.
Yes.
Okay.
And then it would be the supermajority. But call for the vote to reconsider resolution 175. I'm going to ask to read resolution 175.
You got it.
Resolution 175 of 2020. Bond ordinance dated November 10th, 2020. An ordinance authorizing the Broadway and Grand Intersection project in and for City of Kingston, Ulster County, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $1,175,000 and authorizing the issuance of up to $425,000 bonds of said city to pay costs thereof.
So your vote right now is just to bring this to the table so then we could then discuss it. So you're not voting for or against this. So I'm going to call for the vote for reconsidering resolution 175. All in favor? Patrick? Okay, opposed? Patrick, can you give, that's a 9-0 vote to reconsider resolution number 175. So now at our table, we have resolution 175. So now on the question, Rita Worthington, Steve Shabbat, and then Jeffrey.
Thank you. Rita Worthington here. So initially, I was a no vote on this. First, let me thank Kristen Wilson and John Schuttice for personally inviting me to a meeting and talking to me about this and, asking me why I was initially a no on this. And as Alderman Tollerman alluded to, it's because of the financial reasons. We were told one thing, and now the costs have ballooned and skyrocketed. And unfortunately, when we asked the questions of why the cost has gone up and why weren't we told that they were going up in the interim, we did not get those answers. But I'm going to change my vote on this because so many people have written letters and called and said that they do believe that this is really a safety issue. I'm not so concerned about the aesthetics of it because while I want Midtown to look nice like some other parts of the city, I want the whole city of Kingston to look nice. So if we're just concerned about the aesthetics, then I probably would say no. But I'm concerned about the safety issues, as we've heard from a lot of people. So I'm going to change my no to a yes on this.
Alderman Steve Shabbat.
Thank you. Definitely two issues here. And there was an email from the city engineer today about the about the intersection, the dangers of the intersection. By now, we've all heard how many accidents have occurred. Whether you choose to believe that or not, I guess that's a whole different question. I go there all the time. I really feel it's dangerous. I think it needs to be addressed. City engineer again is really, pushing the danger there, and to do something about it. So that's paramount. But I really, as I said last night, I don't want to rule out aesthetics here. I think aesthetics are very important right now. We're doing a lot of work on Broadway, the Midtown area, to improve the quality of the looks. This has been under discussion for so many years. I can't believe it. Going back to T.R. Gallo, I'm sure he started this, and we're moving forward. We're really making this look so much better. I had a discussion recently with a business owner in Midtown, and he was railing about how bad it looked, and I said, "Geez, just think how it looked 2 years ago. We've already made a lot of headway. Several businesses on their own have really beautified the outside of their buildings, and I think it's noticeable already. We can do more, and I hate to say, there's plenty of jokes about Jack in a Box and Planet Wings. I don't like to say, too much about that. Actually, I know the owner of Planet Wings, was very generous. He was sponsored. He sponsored, youth teams and, provided food for outings and things like that. So I really respect him for that. But, as far as a building like that sitting in the midst of a historic area, I just don't think it's a good look. I would rather have the public gathering spot. As Don said, there's really nothing like this around. I think it's going to really enhance the whole Midtown area. I think it's going to be great. And let's face it, Midtown is the first thing you see when you come into Kingston. You have to go through Midtown, and Midtown and we're only going to be as strong as Midtown. It's very simple. And as Rita says, it's the same with any. We're only as strong as downtown. We're only as strong as uptown. It's a whole big thing. But I think this is a big piece of the puzzle. To make this area look better, make it more safe for people that come to this area. And, as we know, we are experiencing a huge influx of people that like what Kingston has to offer. And I think it's really going to improve that. If they ride down Broadway, they see the new Broadway, what we're doing on Broadway. And if they don't see that building there any longer, and they see a really nice little pocket park there, I think it's going to do wonders for the area. So I am still voting for it. I think it's a good idea, and yes, there's something to be said for the way it was handled. But we're big boys and girls again. We've had this happen numerous times where costs have escalated way beyond what we envisioned. But we have to decide: do we pull the plug on something, or do we continue to move forward? And I am of the mind to move forward here.
Thank you. Alderman Jeffrey Ventura Morel.
Thank you, President Schott. I will be upholding my no vote. My opposition to this from the beginning has been based on the cost. This was presented to us as something that would be fully grant funded and zero cost to the taxpayers. In the time since, the cost has skyrocketed. We are now being asked to spend double what the match to the taxpayers is more than what the original grant was between buying the property and now this bond. While this might be a great project, we are all being asked in these uncertain economic times to make sacrifices. city departments have had to cut their budget by 10% or more. So I believe that with the 700 plus thousand grant plus the 50,000 in CDBG funding, we could go back to the drawing board and come up with a different solution using the funds that we already have available. So for that reason, I will maintain my no vote on this.
Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
Thank you, President Shaw. Decisions that we make, often a lot of times people don't notice them. We might decide to put in $1 million to improve sewer lines, and some people greatly benefit, but it's not the sort of thing where they are going to, say, hey, hooray. Most people in the city don't notice this. Another thing that doesn't often get noticed is foresighted decisions. Improving safety is one of these. No one acknowledges the decisions we make that increase safety. No one says thank you for the accident that didn't happen here, or for the injuries that were avoided, or for the damage that was prevented. And this is one of those cases. I think if we act now, this is an act for creating greater safety. And that's going to be very important for several reasons. First off, if we don't change this intersection, we're putting in millions of dollars to improve Broadway just so that people who are traveling toward the Rondout end up in a bottleneck. People who are traveling from the other direction are going to get frustrated having to wait before they enter into the much nicer section that's just beyond under the bridge. Moreover, there's going to be a lot of increased usage by pedestrians in this area in general. First off, East Squared has opened just recently. That's introduced 50 some odd new families in the area. We're looking at potentially building a 5-story housing structure, something like that, in the parking lot over at Guido's. So just in general, there's going to be a lot more pedestrian usage in this area. And we've heard plenty of testimony from pedestrians who've had difficult times. One of my fellow aldermen and I almost got hit by a car trying to travel through that intersection. Rose Quinn, who's one of the best advocates for bicycles in town, has pointed out very powerfully that this is a very bad intersection for people who are on bicycles. I think too, in terms of cost, I don't necessarily agree that the costs have ballooned or skyrocketed. We bought the property because we knew we wanted to fix that piece of property. It used to be this wonderful place that had that the old 8-sided post office on it. Now it's got this relic of 1950s and 60s throw it up fast architecture. So the idea of purchasing the property originally was to create something nice in that space. Through that, we've been developing that. This is a case of thinking through the issue and saying, well, what if we do this? What if we do that? And as that's happened, of course, the costs have changed. We're getting $700,000 from the state to offset a large percentage of the cost. Some of the cost is being transferred from the Broadway project into this in order to pay for the traffic lights. So we'd still have to pay that money anyway. So I think this is an excellent investment, and it's an investment in Midtown. And I think we don't want to underestimate how important that is to demonstrate our commitment to Midtown so that everybody in Kingston who passes through can be proud of the entire stretch of Broadway through all of Midtown. That's why I'll be in favor of this bond resolution.
Anyone else? Alderman Patrick O'Reilly, then Tony Davis, and then Michelle Hirsch.
It was said that the engineer had sent us a report on safety on this intersection. I'm looking at my emails now. I don't see that. And I haven't, if someone could give me some hard facts about the safety at this intersection, I haven't really heard anything. I've heard conflicting reports that this is not the most dangerous intersection as people are saying. Well, that being said, I've driven through it many times. It is a little difficult to know. It is difficult to navigate sometimes. in your car. And I'm sure I've walked across that street many, many times. I see the high school kids navigating it every day. I haven't heard of any skyrocketing safety issues at this corner. That being said, it is an eyesore. That building needs to go. It was sad that the post office was torn down. It's a scar on the psyche of the people of Kingston who have lived through that terrible architectural destruction in our town. And then to drive past this every day and see that square fast food restaurant in the place of such a wonderful thing. As far as a gathering spot, this pocket park, I don't know how much of a gathering spot it will be. It surely will be aesthetically more pleasing to the eye than what's there right now. Very expensive, very expensive, pleasurable thing for the city of Kingston. So, as for safety, I'm not sure about that. I mean, no one's really proposed those numbers to me. I don't see John's email here. I'm looking at my email right now. I don't see that. I've heard people say that it's not the most dangerous intersection in town or even close to it. So what we're paying for is exactly what Steve has said. We're paying for a pleasurable spot to view on Broadway. Is it going to be used as much as people say? I doubt it. I doubt that it'll be used as a great gathering spot in the city of Kingston, but it sure will be. It sure will be a pleasure to the eye, and it's a long time coming. It's a lot of money. I think it's a tough vote. I think this is a real tough vote for anybody who's voting on this. This is really spending money that we don't have on a project to enhance the beauty of the city of Kingston. I mean, are we willing to do that right now? Are we willing to spend that money right now to enhance the beauty of the city of Kingston? Because I haven't seen the safety. Looks like I got letters attached to email Krista Wilson. Okay. I saw something there, but it just said traffic flow. Whoever just sent that to me, Rennie, it looked like it was just a traffic flow chart to me. It didn't look like accidents on there. Were there accidents on there? I would like to know. I'll take another look at that chart. But as far as I can see, this is a very expensive, long time coming renovation of that corner. And if it does pass, I hope it's beautiful. I hope people use it. I hope it increases safety. But it's a tough vote right now with our present situation financially. Thank you.
Tony Davis.
I'll let Michelle go first if she wants to.
Alderwoman Hirsch.
Alderwoman Hirsch here. I was a yes vote last month, and I am concerned after, and even last night I was still a yes, but after today, County Executive Pat Ryan's press conference regarding the rapid upswing in COVID in our community, I think that we should possibly just hit the pause button on this, maybe even for another month or two, so maybe send it back to committee. I'm not feeling as confident now, a month later, about the economic situation and expending such a large amount of debt at this time. Thank you.
Congress?
Did you say me, Andrea?
Yes, Tony.
All right, Tony Davis here, and I've been going back and forth probably since last month's vote, and many phone calls, from the engineer, from Kirsten Wilson, from many of my fellow aldermen and all the women, to speaking to John Toohey today. So I've gotten a lot of information. I've spoken a lot. I've gotten a lot of information on this, and I've been going back and forth. And initially, I was against this, and just like so many, and Jeffrey and then Victoria Morel have stated, and I was very frustrated. And again, I'll state lack of communication from the city government. We get one figure, and then they come back another month, 2 months from now, and they're asking for more money. That is a frustration part of this to me. We have to learn in the future that if we're going to do some kind of project like this, we have to get our best estimates of what the total cost of this project is. Over any project, I mean. So we as and the council, as well as the taxpayers, have a full picture of what this might total cost. Yes, is there some obstacles that we might not see when you're tearing up the ground or whatever, asbestos, but at least we would know. At least we would know it ahead of time. When I voted for this for, I think it was $420 or $430 to purchase this building, that, okay, the overall picture is going to be, they're saying the estimate is going to be $1 million when it's all said and done with the building and plus the reconfiguration of the street. That is what the frustrating part of this is. But the other end is that of the safety of that intersection, right? First off, it's the safety of there. Cars going through. I've driven through there many times. Again, yes, you got to sit there. Unless you're making that left to go up Broadway, you probably get it good. If you're coming from YMCA side, you're waiting to see what's going to happen. If you're making a right or a left to go down Broadway, I should say, you're waiting to see what's happening, right? The only two ways you have is if you're making a right going up Broadway from Grand Street, or you're making a right going down from Pine Grove going down Broadway. Okay, I feel pretty good here. All right, we talk about safety. Yes, there's a lot of kids are in that section. Maybe not right now because of COVID, all right? But when this is all said and done, people going to the Midtown Neighborhood Center, the Andy Murphy Center, people going to the Y, and especially in the summertime, all right? There's traffic in there, and I see the kids walking. Yes, they're young kids, so they don't think that, nobody's going to hit me, all right? But, it's, as people have, stated here, people, they've either been or they know of people who've dodged or almost got hit or did get hit at that intersection. So that is one thing. The other part is the beautification of Broadway. Yes, it is our heart and soul of the city of Kingston. When you come off that throughway, traffic circle, for the most part, people are not really going uptown. They're coming down Chandler Drive and they're coming to the top of the Kingston and they're driving down. And so it's going to beautify Kingston, right? We're all talking about, because, the lights, people, have to stop to catch the traffic lights, et cetera, et cetera. That's going to be improved. So all that said, and I didn't get the vote last month, all right? And so, I'm frustrated. We have to do something in the future. I can tell you right now, in the future, if we don't get an approximate cost, total cost of projects, I'm going to be a no. Telling you, any big projects, if whoever comes to it and can't give us an approximate, then they need to go back and do their homework, reach out to some vendors or whatever. What do you think their approximate cost would be to do this, et cetera, and come and say, this is approximately the total figures for this. I'm going to be a no vote from going forward. But, and again, as Steve Shabbat said, and I think Don Tollerman said, was it purposely? No. Was it a plug? Yes. Or is it that we find ourselves sometimes being told a figure and then we've invested in that money and then it come back a month or 2 months later and say, oh, we need more. Yes. We're in trouble then, right? As was stated, because we've either wasted that money or we have to go forward and just give money on top of it. That is my frustration, because in my opinion, that's sometimes I'm thinking that's happening. Oh, we're just going to tell them this is how much money we need, and then we'll go back to them a month or so, and they'll be like, well, they can't do anything about it because they've already spent this amount of money. That needs to change. I don't know if it's purposely or not, but again, lack of communication from City Hall to us that have to make these decisions. And then we have to be accountable and be able to tell the taxpayers and our constituents why we did it or why we did not do it. So all those things being said, I'm going to be a no or yes vote for this project. And I can tell you right now, anything else coming back to money, there better be some real reasons why. Because we all have to start holding the administration. We have to start holding them. We have to start holding the grant people to what they come and say that they're going to do with the amount of money they ask for. Thank you.
Alderman Doug Coop.
Yeah, it seems to me. It seems to me if we turn this thing down, we're just throwing away the Cahill grant, $750,000, which is paying like 60% of the cost of this. If we turn this down, that grant's gone. It's not coming back. To vote this down, I think is foolish. Thank you.
Alderman O'Reilly.
I have a few questions. Does anybody know what the estimated, of course it's estimated because we all know that, right? What is the estimated cost of this project going forward right now? The other thing is I looked at this sheet that says that Mr. Tollerman said was, or someone said was sent about safety. It's not about safety at all. All it is about traffic volume. It has nothing to do with safety that I can see on this sheet. So as far as touting this as a safety issue, we all know it's somewhat of a safety issue. Nah, is it the worst intersection? Probably not in the city of Kingston. Is it a horrific building that needs to come down? Surely it does. I mean, I don't like looking at that as I go by. I know I'm with Steve Shabbat on that one. Would I like to see a little park in there? I surely would. I'd love to see a little park in there, people sitting in there having their lunch. That would be a wonderful thing. Would I like to see the street lights working properly on this on Broadway? Yes, actually, we had that working. We had the street lights on Broadway working properly for a while there, and the residents of the side streets complained so much they changed the stoplights so that you couldn't drive down Broadway any longer that way. So will that happen again to this city, Brusca? It may, because people didn't like waiting on the side streets, so that people could drive all the way down Broadway at their leisure. So that may be another issue coming up. So to say that this is going to be a traffic flow, wonderful traffic flow thing, we already did that. We did that already. There was a time period where I could drive all the way down Broadway without stopping at a stoplight, and it was beautiful. But that takes. But the city residents on the side streets didn't appreciate it, so we did away with that years ago. Will that happen again? Maybe. Does anybody have a cost on this thing? I mean, I sent a text, hoping somebody could give me a total cost on the end of this thing, or even an estimate. I don't think we know it, do we? I'd love to hear someone tell me what the cost of this final estimated cost would be on this thing, on this pocket park.
Do I want to see it there? Surely I want to see it there. I think we all do. We all want to see it there. We want to see something lovely there with some flowers planted. That'd be wonderful. Can we afford it? That's the problem.
Just for the cost questions, I don't have the exact numbers off the top of my head, Patrick. I think it was $424 initially purchased the property a year or so ago. And then we put in $50,000 for CDBG money for asbestos removal. And this resolution is calling for $425 around there. So I thought it was $1,100,000, but that math doesn't add up. So I don't know if I'm missing anything, but 1.1 million was what I remember. And then that doesn't include the pocket park.
I mean, we don't even know what the cost is, and we're voting on it.
Well, we're not voting on the pocket park, but we are getting to the point where we have had several of you who have hands up who've already spoken twice, so just be aware of that. Rennie, I think you only spoke once. So Rennie and then Tony. These are both your second times, so just be aware.
Well, I recognize totally what Tony is saying, and there would be some proposals for developing a park, surely, but I think that's the place to draw the line in the sand and to say, going forward, DPW can put in, at the very least, grass and, make it a very presentable place within their budget. But I think that the crucial thing here is what we're looking at is improving the safety. Patrick, number one, I don't think anybody said it was the most dangerous intersection, but it is a dangerous intersection. I've seen the figures before, and it's not number one. And if anybody said that, that would not be correct. However, there have been crashes there, and what we're talking about too is creating that smooth flow that you were talking about down Broadway. If we don't have this intersection clued in to the rest of the development of Broadway, you end up creating a bottleneck there. And so the idea here is to have that smooth flow exactly like what you're talking about, but in such a way that it doesn't, create the kind of complaints on the side streets that you're talking about. So I think too that in the end, if we had just thought of this in terms of spending $400,000 to fix this entire intersection, I think we'd be having a different conversation. So I think that we're frustrated because there was the building, and then there was a different cost that's associated with reconstructing the intersection, and that's then in this larger context of fixing the rest of Broadway along there. So for me, that's the important thing. It's in that context of creating a smooth flow all the way down Broadway through there, and improving the safety of what is a dangerous intersection, not the most dangerous intersection, but a dangerous intersection, and establishing the possibility here for something that's really beautiful in that spot. But I totally agree with Tony. This is one of those places where we need to be looking for grant money. We need to be looking for people to sponsor something there. We can have a design competition. That's one of the things the mayor has talked about, getting city residents involved in figuring out that design and making it something of a community project. So I don't think that, at this point we need to worry about that cost. That's also something that is down the road. But totally like Tony's saying, we need to draw a line in the sand here and say we're not going to accept these large costs without very clear estimates before we get into these projects in the future.
We have Tony Davis and then Michelle Hirsch. Tony
Davis here. And so again, as I stated, I've gone back and forth. I've seen the data, and that John Schulteis, the city engineer, and Kirsten Wilson, and the grant manager, and presented to us. And I mean, many of us had the opportunity to have a Zoom meeting with them when they showed us the the figures about the traffic accidents there. And yes, I think it was the second and most intersection, and next to, I believe, Broadway and Cedar Street, or second or third. And so again, and I iterate that at the time I was against this, but again, from talking to people and looking at the data, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I'm the one that I brought to them about what about stop signs? What about reconfiguring the traffic lights there? But the data came back saying that would cause more traffic backups there, and it's one thing to talk about Broadway just going down, but we got to talk about the side streets. That is the problem there at that intersection. It's not just going up and down Broadway. Those people don't have a problem just going, north and south on Broadway. It's the people who are coming east and west that are trying to get on Broadway or get across Broadway right at that intersection, the way it's configured. And I mean, it's way before our time. This is not a problem that we just inherit. This has been a problem for years, and nobody's taken initiative. No other administration has taken initiative to address it. Yes, and it falls on this administration, this Common Council, that do we take a stand and do something with this? We could have just passed the buck and say, okay, nope, let's keep on passing the buck. We'll let the next administration deal with it, the next administration deal with it, the next administration deal with it, but it's not getting solved. That building's going to still be there, an eyesore that people have been talking about for years and years and years, that you couldn't do anything with, right? It's been a pizza place to a wing place and no luck because of the traffic flow. You can't get in and out of there. So it's just sat there, dormant. Did we have an opportunity to take that building over and be able to reconfigure the street so that's better? I mean, we're not only talking about Broadway and Grand, we're talking about the people who are trying to come off of Prince Street and that are waiting to try to dodge in to try to get to the corner of Grand Street so they can either go up or down Broadway, and they're sitting there. And some are dodging in front of cars. So this is a whole entire mess there. So if we take the building out and take the park out, we still have a problem with that intersection, the way it's configured. And like I said, this was a tough choice for me. This is a tough choice for me. But in the long run, it's going to make that intersection smooth for all directions of traffic. It's going to make it safer for pedestrians. We're putting in bike lanes in there. They're going to make it smoother, and it's going to make it smoother for people to walk. We're going to have kids back sooner than later who are going to be walking that intersection to and from the high school, and that's going to make it better for them. Right? We're going to have sooner or later kids that are going to the Y and the Andy Murphy Center. That intersection is going to make it better for them. So that again is why, and I'm looking forward to voting yes on this. Thank you.
We had Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch and then Doug Coop. This is both the second time you're speaking. Alderwoman Hirsch.
Yes, Alderwoman Hirsch here. I wholeheartedly believe that, it would be of great benefit to the community to straighten out that intersection. It would be a benefit for economic development. But I know that I sound like a broken record the last few meetings, and my concerns about and the economic fallout that can come down to our municipality, our school district, funds being withheld by the State Department of Budget, and just feeling like maybe we should just put a pause on this for a little while, see where things fall. The building could still technically come down. We still have to do that. Maybe we just send this back to committee and have another look at this. Thank you.
Doug Coop.
There were questions on the cost between Patrick and Andrea. The total cost on this, including engineering services, project construction, and inspection, is $1,175,000, of which $750,000 is coming from the New York State Department of Transportation with the assistance of Kevin Cahill. That amounts to 64% of the project cost. This is a slam dunk. You don't get those grants very often. Yeah, it's expensive, but 64% of this is being covered. And Tony and everyone else has gone over reasons for safety and beauty and convenience. Thank you.
Michelle, did you make a motion to send it back to committee, or was that just a?
Procedurally, I'm not even sure if I can make a motion within the discussion. So.
Oh yeah, this is. I forgot where we are on this. It is a. All right. Well, I think everybody said their 2 cents. So I'm going to call for the vote. This is a bond, so we do need a long roll. Elisa, can you read Resolution 175 again?
Resolution 175 of 2020, a bond ordinance dated November 10th, 2020. An ordinance authorizing the Broadway and Grand intersection project in and for the city of Kingston, Ulster County, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $1,175,000 and authorizing the issuance of up to $425,000 bonds of said city to pay costs thereof.
Long roll, please.
Alderman Shabbat.
Yes.
Alderman Hirsch.
No.
Alderman Ventura Morel.
No.
Alderman Coop.
Yes.
Alderman Scott Childress.
Yes.
Alderman Worthington.
Reluctantly, yes.
Alderman Tollerman.
Yes.
Alderman Davis.
What about Patrick O'Reilly?
Tony, I didn't. I'm sorry. What?
Yay.
What did you say? Yes or no?
Yay.
Oh, yes. And Alderman O'Reilly.
Yes.
All right, resolution passes 7-2. The 2 G-cents were Michelle Hirsch and Jeffrey Ventura Morel. That concludes our communications. Does anybody have anything else they want to bring to the floor?
We're on a roll. Why don't we just keep going?
Alderman Hirsch?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules to discuss the affordable housing zoning amendment.
There is a motion to suspend the rules to discuss the affordable housing. Is there a second? Patrick seconds it.
Point of order.
Yes.
I believe that if a motion is made, it has to be for an action, and discussion is not an action. There has to be, right? Is that not right?
Court Counsel Kevin on that.
What further action is there tonight?
I don't know.
I couldn't hear
Michelle?
anything. I froze. I did not hear anything that just happened after Rennie said point of order.
So what further action is there for tonight?
We had started discussing to look at the affordable housing zoning change and possibly hold a public hearing. So I was looking to see if we can get that started and get a discussion.
I don't know if tonight is the right time to have that discussion. It's not relevant to something that is actually on the calendar for this evening. I know that there is a hearing that needs to be scheduled, but I think the discussion that you have in mind is more appropriate at a different time, unless if for some reason it had been connected with a resolution or some action that was taking place tonight, then that would be one thing.
I can't hear.
But to suspend the rules to have a discussion on a particular issue that's not necessarily relevant to tonight, I would suggest that that take place at a different time.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to continue, Michelle, or do you just wait until committee after hearing court counsel's advice?
Well, obviously, we need to have a discussion before holding a hearing so that we can have the public know what we're holding a hearing about. So I'll accept that advice. I don't know if anyone can hear me. I'm having network problems.
We could hear you.
Okay.
All right, so this is off the floor?
Yes, make sense.
All right. Thank you. Is there anything else? All right, before we conclude, I promise I'll keep this short and then I'll call on Steve Shabbat. I had a young student today who came in with some sad news about a friend of hers. And I just want to let everybody here know, and anybody who's listening either now or later, that, going into the holidays could be hard on some people, and, especially going into the dark months ahead with rising cases of COVID. I want everybody to know that I'm here if you need to talk, or if we can't hug each other, but if you need a virtual high five, I'm here for you, and I hope that you continue to check on people. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who may need that phone call or that text. And I want anybody to know who needs to hear this, that I'm here for you. So that's it. Steve?
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Andrea. Appreciate your compassion. A couple things here. I want to close in memory of a couple people, but first of all, I just want to thank you. This is the last month or so has been an incredible amount of work and meetings, and it's just been nonstop. I really appreciate that you've held this all together with Elisa, getting these meetings together, getting committee reports through the mail. I mean, I can't even imagine how much work has gone into keeping this process running smoothly, getting this budget together, having all of us getting together as frequently as we have has been incredible. And it's really, I think it's run very smoothly. If there's been a lot of glitches, I haven't seen it once in a while, but everything's been great. I appreciate the work you've done, the two of you, to keep this running. Has been incredible. I thank you. I would like to close in memory of two folks. One just died within the last couple of days, Audrey Haber. She's a very well-known Kingston resident. She's also the grandma of one of our city workers, Kyle and Dedier. She's lived here all her life. I know her kids. Tony probably knows all her kids very well. She just died, I think, a couple days ago. And also Donald Barnes. I think he lives out by you, Tony. Lifelong resident here, longtime IBMer, Orange County Plumbing Supply. Served in the Korean conflict. Leaves behind a daughter, son, and two grandkids. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Yes, Andrea, it's my understanding that there had been discussions that had taken place with Michelle and Dan Gartenstein from my office, based on the difficulties that we've had in terms of communication, COVID, and the like all the other issues that have plagued us during this very difficult time. I think that in this particular situation, I think it would be a good idea to suspend the rules and address the issue. Let her speak on the issue so this can be moved forward. It's relevant to a scheduled hearing. Shouldn't take long.
Sure, that's fine. So we did have the rules by Michelle Hirsch. Patrick O'Reilly did second that. So I'll call to suspend the rules. All in favor? Can you just make sure your thumbs so I could see them? So Rita, Tony, Don, Patrick, Jeffrey, Michelle, Rennie, Steve, Doug. Okay. So the motion passes to suspend the rules by a vote of 9-0. The rules are suspended to discuss the affordable housing. Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch, you want to speak?
Yes, Alderwoman Hirsch. So we had some ongoing discussions. I'm not on laws and rules, but it was brought up at laws and rules about the council needing to pass or look at an amendment to our zoning code to include affordable housing citywide. And if we wanted to make it, mandatory, and it was recommended that we start at 10% right now, and we could hold a hearing on that. So I'm looking to see if we can move forward on putting together a hearing on proposal to make affordable housing mandatory.
Alderman Jeffrey Ventura Morale on Tollerman.
Thank you, President Schott. Yes, so this was discussed. It has been discussed for the last two Laws and Rules meetings. The way we left it at the last Laws and Rules was that we would invite Dennis Doyle and either Sue Cahill or Mike Gilliard to the next Laws and Rules meeting. Or Alderman Scott Childress suggested maybe having a separate meeting just to discuss this in order for them to explain the responses we received when we sent the communication out to get an opinion from the Ulster County Planning Board and the City Planning Board. So that was the last discussion. We didn't decide whether that would happen at the upcoming Laws and Rules meeting or whether we would schedule a special Laws and Rules meeting to discuss this after that meeting.
This is the new iPhone 12 Pro with 5G, and it's on 8.
Alderman Don Tollerman.
So just for the record, I want to say that I think it's a great idea that we do have talk about a 10% as a citywide regulation for housing. I'm a little confused about the order. When does this come out of committee? Is this something we have to deal with right now?
It's my understanding that it was for the committee to schedule a hearing. All the referrals had been put out. Then it would come back to the committee for a vote. So further discussions could take place. But it's imperative that you schedule the hearing.
Okay, but we don't need to decide anything tonight, just schedule the hearing.
Just schedule the hearing.
So I think it's a great idea. Could do that.
Jeffrey?
Just for the record, I had not been informed that a hearing was necessary, but I'd be willing to schedule a hearing tonight if the rest of the members of the Laws and Rules Committee are in agreement.
That would mean calling a meeting, and we can't do that without proper notification, right?
You can schedule the hearing in this form. The whole council's here. Just
Okay.
schedule the hearing. Everyone can just vote on approving the hearing.
And please keep in mind,
Right now.
You got Christmas coming up.
Is that what you're saying? You want the date of the hearing right now? Or you
Not
want
just authorizing the schedule of the hearing
Right.
for the additional 10% affordable housing.
Right.
Elisa?
So, Kevin, we just need to say that we agree with scheduling the hearing, basically, yes?
Yes, that's basically what you're going to be doing.
Okay.
Alderman Rennie Scott Childress?
I move that we schedule a hearing with the public for the purpose of discussing whether to establish a requirement of 10% affordable housing in all multi-unit developments in Kingston.
That was a motion, second by Michelle Hirsch. On the discussion, on the question, I'll call for our Alderman Jeffrey Ventura Morel.
I just want to reiterate that as the chair of Laws and Rules, it would have been nice to know this in advance that a hearing was necessary. But I will vote in favor of this, of course.
Anyone else in the discussion? Hearing no more, our Alderman Tony Davis.
So I'm just a little confused. And so if Jeffrey's a chair of the Laws and Rules, and he wasn't informed that it had to be a hearing, that we're seeing now it has to be a hearing. Is that correct?
I don't know what communication Dan has had with Jeffrey or what understanding that the Laws and Rules Committee had. I haven't been present to those meetings, but it's my understanding that that's been the only requirement, and that whomever you intend on bringing to Laws and Rules can still come. Because this wouldn't be voted out of Laws and Rules until a hearing has been completed.
So is this Laws and Rules who's voting on this hearing, or is this the
since you're all part here at the council meeting, there is no reason why the council meeting can't simply vote to approve the scheduling of a hearing. Everyone from Laws and Rules is present.
All right, so I will call for the vote of authorizing a public hearing. All in favor? Opposed? It is adopted. Motion with the committee to schedule a date with the proper public notice. All right. Anybody else have anything to end the meeting with? Alderman O'Reilly?
Hi, Alderman O'Reilly. I'd like to end the meeting in memory of Ernest Baldinger of Hurley. Ernie was a great man, passed away. He was a Navy Seabee in Cuba and Vietnam. He worked for IBM when he got out of the Navy. He will always be on my mind because one of my friends in school, since junior high school, since we were 12 years old or so, he was always on the edge, this kid. And he could have gone either way. We all could have gone either way, you know. But he could have gone either way, probably more than anyone. And he got a job out at IBM working in the tech department out there, fixing phones and cleaning up the supply room. And Ernie was working out there, and Ernie gave this young man guidance. He told him to hang in there. He told me he doesn't want to become a drug dealer. He doesn't want to become and live on the edge of society. He he guided this young man untraditionally 30 years later. This young man now is my age, and he's been a productive citizen and has a nice job and pays taxes, and I just remember this man for probably saving this kid's life. So this guy's a good friend of mine. So I just want to remember Ernie. Thank you very much.
Sorry for your loss, Patrick. Is there anybody else? Seeing no more hands, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Steve Shabbat. All in favor? Opposed? We hereby stand adjourned until the next release.